Dean Taylor, the green flag's out and we're racing.
Once we get our Friday night doing that next week, we'll really go to work for 24. That's 24. No question about that.
He's going to maintain the handle as Charlie Hartz now screams out.
That's exciting.
Next, we'll move on to the Pronto Auto Parts Figure 8 division, and in the opening laps, it's Charlie Hartz, the early race leader, with Zeke Skaggs running at second. Jim Berry moves into the number 3 spot. The number 79 of Gregg Witt, along with Jeff Roberts and Danny Blackwell, all battling for a top 5 running order. The inside by Tony Conway. The race leaders move out of turn number 4 now with 23 laps remaining, and Danny Blackwell is out of the event. He pulls off onto the back straightaway with problems on his machine.
After having been on such a great streak here lately, trouble for him as he pulls it off to the inside. Well, the cars are stacking it up quite heavily back in the pack. We see the number 2 of Buck Skaggs going on a spin. There is a wheel off on the racetrack right now of one of the racing machines. That'll bring out a red flag instantly.
Okay, the red flag comes out for the wheel and tire off Tom Winters' machine, the fine driver out of Shively, Kentucky. He was running well in the point standings, but not too well in this feature event. The
cars go screaming through once again. This time,
an early caution flag period bunched the field back up. Zeke Skaggs in car number 6 is now the race leader. Charlie Hartz battling along on the outside of Jeff Roberts, but it's the number 86 machine of Roberts that takes over second. Tony Anderson along with Charlie Hartz and Jim Berry inside the top 5. Machine, and he's out of competition. The battle right now is for third place, Jim Berry and Charlie Hartz. They'll move side by side out of turn number 2 and through the intersection. Tony Anderson will watch that battle in front of him as he's currently in the number 5 position. Anderson nearly makes it 3 abreast as they move over to turn 4. Jim Berry rolls up and takes over the number 3 spot as Charlie Hartz pulls out of contention and down to the infield. Obviously a problem on his machine.
Also, we see potential problems with the 0 of Raymond Johnson as a bumper is dragging on his car. That is a for sure black flag situation. In fact, we see flagman David Geiger reaching for that consultation flag now. Perhaps he'll fly the Johnson this time across. Down to the intersection, 20 laps remain. It's still Zeke Skaggs out in front. Jeff Roberts running at second, Jim Berry at third, and up to fourth.
Sometimes during figure 8 racing action, the action isn't always at the intersection. As we have cars attempting to go 3 abreast at the intersection, Dave Staten along with the number 14 of Larry Hobart, the number 0 of Raymond Johnson, running very well in the point series, collides with the outside retaining wall, doing some severe damage to the trunk area of his automobile. There's Calvin Crane dragging a suspension part on his automobile.
Crane, he is dragging a bumper underneath that machine. That's why all the sparks are coming out. I believe that is the bumper off of Holbert's car, as the yellow flag is going to come out on the event. So again, the cars involved, Johnson was involved, Calvin Crane was involved, and Larry Hobart was involved. All the cars have rejoined the lineup, but some of them a little bit worse for the wear, Frank.
Okay, so a 4-car accident brings this race back under caution with 18 laps remaining. The cars again involved in the accident.
Out there on the pole position, he is going to have with him though the number 86 of Jeff Roberts. Now in row 2, it's the number 51 of Jim Berry running third, and that 111 car is the lap down the rest of the field. That's John O'Brien. Even though he is there on the outside of row 2, he is not on the lead lap. Jim Berry is though, and he is running third. Fourth on the field, the number 42, Tony Anderson, and Tony Conway rounds out the top 5 in that number 54 machine as they come around turns 3 and 4. This time down through the intersection, we should be looking for some green flag action, right?
Well, with 18 laps to go in the event, that's 36 more times through the intersection. And they're back under green, and Jeff Roberts and the number 6 of Zeke Skaggs move side by side into turns 1 and 2. Out of turn number 2, Skaggs takes a part of the speed bumps with him and slows his momentum down. Roberts has the inside track now going into turn 3 and 4 and pulls handily into the lead. Well, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Look at this 4 abreast wild zaniness out of the figure 8 division last Friday evening at Louisville Motor Speedway. And the entire field is on one half of the race course. So, again, no intersection connection expected within the next few laps. The race leaders cross the start-finish line, And they have 16 to go, Dean.
Wide over in turn 2. You got Bud Skaggs on the inside, Larry Holbert on the outside. Wayne Schumann and Calvin Crane all sandwiched in there together. Something's got to give. It's Dave Staten as he goes on a spin through turn number 1 there. So he's going to find himself having to rejoin the field. He'll take a short lap to do it, though, as he goes down towards the turn 3 area.
Well, car number 19, Wayne Schumann, went into the first turn wide open, and he collected the side of Dave Staten's machine. Bobby Johnson tagged Schupman's car down in the third turn and turned him around. And it looks like they continue on here now. So we have 15 laps remaining in the event. The race leader is Jeff Roberts out of turn number 4. And the field has gotten shuffled around a bunch. And Dean, they're beginning to meet at the intersection.
Yeah, that intersection's going to get fast and furious here. We see the number 42, Tony Anderson, has pulled his machine behind the wall. Right now, it's 86 and Jeff Roberts out in front. Zeke Skaggs running second and Jim Berry. Those are your top 3 cars.
Well, by the looks of Jeff Roberts' machine, he's seen some severe contact during this race event. But he holds on to the number 1 spot after getting around the number 6 of Zeke Skaggs, with Jim Berry still inside the top 3 in the late stages of the event. Chris was one of our guests last week on Louisville Motor Speedway Live. Butch Winters in car number 80 runs in the number 5 spot. But once again, 4th and 5th place is just about a full straightaway behind our 3 race leaders, Jeff Roberts, Zeke Skaggs, and Jim Berry. They're racing out of turn number 2, down through the intersection now.
Jeff Roberts still out in front. Chris Harmon, who's Frank Simmons on our show. A very soft-spoken gentleman, but you would never know it when he gets out there on the racing track, as he gives it us all. And he's doing so right now to try and hold on to that 4th place position. Butch Winters there running a 5th. On back to Gregg running around 6th, and the number 59 of Pat Pierce there, unofficially in 7th at the moment.
Well, this is how Pat Pierce has been able to run so well in the championship point standings. He hasn't gotten to the front and won as many races as he'd like, but he's been consistently finishing up in the 8th, 7th, 5th place spot or so. A near collision at the intersection between John O'Brien and Bobby Johnson sends Johnson out onto the front straightaway momentarily. He quickly rejoins the field. 10 laps remaining in this event. Car number 86, Jeff Roberts, is the race leader over at turn number 4.
He's now opening up a bit of a margin between him and the 2nd place running number 6 of Zeke Skaggs. In fact, we'll call it about an 8 to 10 car length margin. As again, Skaggs collects those speed bumps, slowing his momentum slightly. That allows Jim Berry to narrow that margin between himself and that 2nd place running car just a little bit. As that intersection closes off, Chris Harmon works his way through it, getting past the number 8 of Charlie Hartz, and he'll scoot off through turns 3 and 4, right?
Okay, Pat Pierce now pulls into the number 6 position, the current point leader. And again, he's looking for a high finish here tonight to strengthen that point lead, because he didn't have much on Dave Staten coming into tonight's program. However, Staten has dropped back quite a bit in the field right now. As a matter of fact, he's about 4 positions or so behind Pat Pierce, and about a half a lap at that. We have 8 to go. Jeff Roberts is your race leader.
So if things stay the way they are, that'll open up a nice little healthy margin lead for the number 59 of Pat Pierce. But he's got to mind his P's and Q's, as there are 7 laps left in this event. It's still the number 86 of Jeff Roberts out in front. He has put a lap car in between himself and the 2nd place running number 6 of Zeke Skaggs. Jim Berry holding on to the thick of things, running back there just behind Zeke, a few cars back in at 3rd at the moment.
Okay, and those top 3 cars who used to be bumper to bumper for the first part of the event have opened up a little daylight between each other. Right now, Zeke Skaggs has the slower lap car of Charlie Hartz between himself and Jim Berry, so that will definitely hamper Berry's momentum into battling the 2nd place running car of Zeke Skaggs right now. Out front, it's Jeff Roberts. It's by 4 car lengths now into turns 1 and 2 with 5 laps remaining.
Down through the intersection, Tony Anderson making his way back out of the track, narrowly getting through that time. As right now your leader scoots off through turns 3 and 4. They'll be looking at about 5 laps left to go. Make that 4 this time across, as the number 86 of Jeff Roberts is still out in front. That margin between himself and 2nd place running Zeke Skaggs is narrowed just slightly, as it looks like Zeke's going to reel in your leader, as he has got some slower cars in front of him. This might set up a last lap shootout for the lead, right?
Okay, good battle on the racetrack right now for 5th. Is between Pat Pierce and Butch Winters. They raced out into turns 3 and 4 now with coming up on 3 laps to go in the event. And Pat Pierce is trying desperately to break into the top 5, but he'll ride right off the rear bumper right now of Butch Winters, moving back into turns 1 and 2. He'll now look to the inside of Winters and pull up side by side as they move over to turn number 2, and they're side by side down through the intersection. But it looks like Winters has that terrific power band about the mid portion of the straightaway, and he's able to edge back out in front of the wild man himself in car number 59. We now have less than 2 laps remaining, and it's Jeff Roberts pulling through some heavy traffic. He now attaches himself to the back end of Tony Anderson's machine, looks to the inside of him, and moves down into turns 3 and 4. And during the final laps of the event, about the only object to avoid, was the number 79 of Gregg Witt at the intersection. But Jeff Roberts remains out front as the white flag falls. Zeke Skaggs in car number 6 challenging out of turn number 2 as they move down through the intersection. Back into turns 3 and 4. Skaggs now looks to the inside. Out of turn number 4, the number 86 of Jeff Roberts, driving the Derby City Septics Racing Chevrolet, collects the feature event victory.
In third, and in at fourth, it'll be the number 116.